Okay, in this next section, we're going to move on to, there's a lot of text, and that's going to take me some time to fill it all in and put it all on the map, no problem. But for now, I wanted to start with the lighting system before I move any further with where I'm placing my text. Because it's going to affect where I place my text and how I place my text and maybe how many lights I'm going to need. But for now, let me show you how I've done this. And it's the same repeatable process. So what I have is, let me just delete these for now. I've created a spotlight, and I've put the spotlight up here. Where I place it's irrelevant because I'm going to be transforming the output anyway. But I've gone ahead and set the base properties to be, 7,500 watts. And depending on how much I adjust this, you can see how much the lighting, and I can adjust where it points on the skull. All right, so I'm going to hide that. Now in my animation nodes, I've done the same thing as I've done with the other objects. I've created an instance of it, created a for loop object node, plugged that into my invoke subprogram, and now I'm going to transform the X, Y, Z axis of this lighting system. So let's go ahead and execute our node tree, and now we can see I have a lighting system. Now let's go ahead and render it and turn off the framework, and it's looking pretty sharp, right? We have the shiny reflection on the smooth, shiny skull. Now I kind of like one light because I like the shadowing here along the face. You can see it casts some of the lighting shadow on this other text, which is pretty neat. So I'm pretty comfortable and happy with that base lighting system. But now, based on these scores, what are our scores here? 8.8, 9.8, 4.3, 5.8. Let's go ahead and light them accordingly. So how I'm going to do that is here using the BPY. So let me write a little bit of BPY and get it working, and then I'll come back and we'll explore it. All right, stay tuned. All right, it's really starting to come together now. Let's take a look at our dynamic lighting system and how we tie our BPY, Blender Python, into the 3D animated world. All right, let's take a quick look at this. So what we have is our instantiations. We have a light for each skull and the score and everything. That's great. And I'm not going to show you just quite yet, but what we have here, and I'll show you the logic here, is I'm going into a count and the item inside of enumerate that PSIRT JSON. Now, I do this count less than 9 to determine whether or not the file name is 00, 1 through 9, or 0, 1 through, 10 to 99. All right. Now, I go into the BPY data objects, the spotlight dot 00 count number, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, dot data dot color, and I set the color up, and we can see it's actually worked here. If I go to the base color, right, it is clear. If I go to the generated spotlights, well, that one is red because it's right above 9 or equal to 9. So let's run this. It runs fine. And now let's take a look. And let's take our mesh off and let's make this a little bit bigger here. So what we have is the red skull because the CVE value is above, right, is 9.8. Pretty neat, right? Now let's go ahead and add the color material in for some of these other scores. Now, I think we have one here. So this is 8.8. And here, how about this? Well, 4.3. What about the last one? Here, 5.8. Let's say if it's for this 5.1. We're going to say if it's above 5 and less than 6.9. Let's go ahead and make that the yellow. Just yellow. Alright, so instead of printing that, we're going to set the object. And I guess that's going to be 1.1, 1.1. Yeah, pure yellow. Right, so now we have this kind of indication here. I don't know why this is showing up like this. How to get rid of that. But anyway, we have the... What is this? Let me just move that out of the way. Well, now I've ruined the color. Seems to be that light. Is it because I have it selected or something? Yeah, let me just select away. There we go. So now we have the red and the... Well, you see now it's over there. Let me just select that one. All right, so we have the red and the yellow, and then it's just a matter of our scale. So let's say if it's between a yellow and a red for this object, let's make it, you know, 0.5 yellow. Is that good enough? Does that sort of make it orange versus yellow? Yeah, maybe 0.75. What if we bring this down a little bit? Maybe, oh, I know, maybe I need to... All right, so let's apply it. And I have the logic here for the scale. So 1, 0, 1 to 0.5, 1 to 1, 1 to 0.5, and 1 to 1. So this would be green if it's less than a... I guess I don't need this last one. I don't need that else because I'm just saying less than 3 here. So let me just trim that. We don't need that. Nice tight code. Don't need this else because we're just saying if it's less than or equal to. And there's our scale. So we're going to run the Python, and now let's render it, and let's take off our, wow. So what we can see here is we have a, you know, an above 9, so a very dangerous CVE, a couple of pretty dangerous CVEs, orange, and then a yellow, and then the sort of greenish. Now we can adjust that green if we don't want it to be green at all, but I don't know. It's not, you know, it's less than a 3. Greater than. No, you see, I do need that last. Let me undo that code there that I just removed. I actually need that because then this is a range. If it's between that, and then else, it would be the, you know, the real green. So that's pretty good here. Maybe we should add some red to this skull here and just see what that looks like. 1.0. So we have a straight 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And then that would make that white instead of green. So let me save this. And then we go from 0 to 0.5 to 1, 1, 0 0.5, 1, 1. And then scale those up. So let's rerun that. And that's a little better. Now it looks kind of white, but that's because we're only adding. Well, that's because, well, what's the range here? Well, anyway, you get the idea here. We're adding the different colors. I'm still not sure about the lower end of the scale. Maybe we don't color it in at all. It's just that it's a warning that it's on there. All right, well, we can play with that, and I'll leave it up to you in your open source version. Now, let's go ahead and do the text. Right? Let me fix my... I want to reset my camera view. I'm having some camera problems right now. But anyway, I want to change the text next. And it's going to be very similar here. We're just going to put in, right, the BPY and then the text objects to change their text. All right, we're getting pretty close to being finished with this. It's coming together along nicely. Now we have a couple of different scores under our main score here, default 5 and 4. I've ran the Python. And now, if I go to the rendered view, hey, look at that. we have our scores differentiated. We've got a 9.8 in the red, an 8.8 in the yellow, and the other two are not inside the boundaries yet. This is weird, this one. 5.8, and yet it has a light. Oh, I see, because I've done the lighting systems yet for them. Right, so that's coming into this range here where I haven't done the lettering yet. So, I mean, in theory, I don't know. Well, no, I don't have the material yet, right? I should have made all the materials. Okay, let's go back here. And again, I have to delete those labels. And I have to take the code out real quick. And execute my node tree to repopulate it. And let's put the code back in. Now let's add some more materials. Let's finish the materials. So we have score 4. Let's do score 3. And score 3 looks like it is 1 and 1, so just solid yellow versus this orange. So we're going to change this to an emission. We're going to change this to just 1 and 1. And we're going to turn on the refraction. Oh, I wanted to see if that refraction made it reflect. And then we're going to copy in our 3 here. And we may as well just go ahead and do that. Alright, so we're on 3, which is done. And now we need a score 2. See, and these are pretty close, eh? Oh, I have to change the emission of that. Well, maybe we'll differentiate them a little more here now that we have a visual help. And I think I can do a preview here. See, like there. It is different. It's just not different enough, I don't think. But we want score 3 to be yellow. And then let's just go ahead and use our default color systems, and then we'll adjust them in both places. So I don't want the preview. This is an emission of, and this is where we start to add the other colors. Alright, so we did 1, 2, 3, and we're at 2, 1, 1, and 0.5. And that's 10. And then we have the solid white for the last score. Score 1. And this is an emission, and I don't even need to change this. 1, 1, 1, 1. An emission of 10. I mean, this is not a bad gradient. I like this to be maybe a little bit more orange than yellow. So maybe we can change that. And again, same as these two. Sort of has a light color there. But I don't know. How do we, which way would we do to make it more orange? Right, less green, I guess. And it's not quite red. What about 0.25? I mean, it's definitely a different color now. So let's do, where was that one? 3? No, the second one. 0.25. 0.25. Save that. And then I guess that would make, well, no, we still want the yellow. It's this one here next. So guess 0.25 there makes it a little more yellow. Or should we just make it a different color altogether? No, I think I'm okay with this scaling system here. So that was 0.25 here as well. All right, so let's save this. And let's save this. And let's run this. And then, oh, right, no, I have to delete my values. I have to quickly take my code out and re-render the scene. And then we'll put the Python back in and run the Python and turn on the render view. And what do we have? Do we have, yeah, 4 colors. We have the sort of orange. Yeah, they're definitely differentiated, the orange versus the yellow. And then we have the white. Well, it's not really white, it's yellowish because it's under a 5. Again, it's really up to our own aesthetics as to what color system we want. I like the nice big numbers. I like the nice big skulls. So now let's give this, right, the wording. We're going to go through the same exercise. Under the label, I'm going to put the materials, and then I'm going to assign them. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll come back and show you what this scene looks like with the colored labels, colored numbers, colored skulls, the lighting system turned on. All right, I'll be right back. All right, I'm ready to wrap up this big section of video. Now I'm not even close to being done with the report. We still have, I don't know, 15 or 20 key value pairs to plot and place, which I'm going to do over time, but I don't think there's much value in recording every one of those. Maybe one more to show you, to give you some practice. But let's just take a look, and this is what I find really cool. We have these 4 objects, and that's it. We have a label, a text label that says text. We have another label that says text, or as a number. We have a skull, and we have a light. And I have to turn this on to see the light, right? That's what we start. That's our collection. 4 objects, which results in you know, the instantiation of the copies. So let's turn the animations on. So from those 4 nodes, we get, 16, because there's only 4, but that would just keep spawning. And we have this incredible lighting system and coloring system to go along with it, right? So from straight on, right, even our lettering now is colored. Now I've decided just in the meantime here, I'm going to need some, you can't see me, I'm going to put some lighting this way in the 3rd dimension, right? This way and this way, like front-facing spotlights possibly. This is dark because there's no real lighting on it. This is emission lighting, so it's always going to glow nice. And then the skull, I kind of like this one light with the nice shine here and the deep socketed eyes and the recessed teeth. And this side's dark. I like that. And then from here, the whole row of the shiny side looks really sharp, right? And then the whole row of the dark side, or the back side, right? And if it gets a little dark, we just need to put another light on, right? Like this back here behind the heads is a touch dark. So maybe we want, another light somewhere. Well, it's struggling a little bit with the zoom and the camera. So anyway, I've had a lot of fun with you during this creation session. And let me do something else before we go, because it's a little gloomy and gray. Let's put everything back on. And now let's go ahead and add a plane. So we're going to say Shift-A Mesh Plane here. Then just press S. Oh, how big is this plane? Well, let's Huh. Usually when I do the plane, oh, hang on, let me try it this way. Maybe I wasn't in the collection. Let me do that. Plane S, nice and big. And I mean, we can center it here. Let me do this with the G and then X. And we can slide it over to start, over here maybe to give it a little wall, a side wall. So how about here? And then what we're going to do is zoom out. And it doesn't need to be so wide. So let's hit the S and the Y and bring it in tight. Maybe there. Wide enough. And now that we have it sort of, well, let's bring it back in on X. There's only 4 of them, so it doesn't really need to be so big out there. Whoops. S, X, and then G, X. How about that? Now, can we center this a little bit more? Okay, so now what we're going to do, once I'm satisfied with it, is hit Tab, right? And then hold Shift and pick these 4 corners. I guess it's just those 2 corners for now. Well, no, what I want to do is extrude, but I'm going to put them in a box if I pick all 4. So let's extrude it this way for now. So now we hit E and then Z. I've done something wrong here. Pick it again, hit Tab, Shift, and pick the corners we want, those 3. E, yeah, E, Z, there we go. And we'll make it, like that. And then what we'll do is grab this corner and this corner and hit E. Huh, that didn't draw. I can't get it to extrude up like those sides. See, why is that clear? Well, anyhow, that's a good, and now if I render it, we have the cool, right, with the shadow on the ground. Let me take the mesh off. Now maybe let's move it a little tighter over here, and let's make it a metallic surface. Whoops. So let's grab that and the plane here, and we're going to go into give it a new material. And let's make it 5 metallic with a sheen of 5. And now what does that look like? Pretty neat. Now maybe the diffusion is pretty nice, with the red. And we can also put whatever kind of background we want in. And I give it this background so that way when if we're going to record this with the camera, we can stay inside the boundaries, right? And I would make it wider so that, out further this way. I'd really love to have a pane here, a wall. I don't know why I can't get that to extrude. I'll play with that though. But that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. And now we have a lot more data to place. So I'm just putting this as an example. I'm not going to keep this plane, but we're going to be adding a plane in the final version to seal it in like this. Pretty incredible stuff, right? So there's, 4 CVEs, their score, their number, nice and easy to read. We have skulls just for fun to indicate the strength of the vulnerability. All right, I'm going to lay over all the data I can, and I'll see you real soon. Thanks again.